This video is for Chapter 12, which is processing characters and strings, and it's Program 3 at the end of the chapter that asks the user to enter a string and then count the number of vowels and consonants. And I've already built the main program, so I have a variable called string that will hold the string the user enters, and it's been initialized to a blank space. Length is going to contain the length of the string, and then vowels and consonants will be where I accumulate the number of vowels and consonants in the string. I've asked the user then to enter a string, and then I do convert the string using the length of function, which is a built-in function in Raptor, to store the length of the string. And then I'm going to print the string, and I'm also going to print the number of vowels and consonants. But I haven't counted them yet because I'm going to do that in a procedure. So what we're going to build here is the procedure, and I'm going to call that procedure count characters. And as my parameters, I need to pass in the string the user enters, and that's just an input parameter, a value parameter, because I'm just going to use it in the function. Same is true with length. I'm going to use it to control my loop as I process through my string, which is an array of characters. So it's just an input parameter. However, both vowels and consonants are coming in as 0 and being passed out containing the actual count. So they need to be both input and output. Two-way communication or passing by reference. So vowels and consonants, which I have trouble spelling, are both input and output. So there's my header, and the first thing I need to do is declare a variable that's going to help me control the loop, and I'm going to use I to do that. So I'm going to set I equal to 1, because in Raptor arrays start with 1 as the first character rather than being 0 based as they are in other languages. Then I need a loop because I want to process through the loop as long as I have a character left in my string. So my check for my loop control is whether or not I is greater than the length of the string, which is stored in the variable length, because I used the built-in function in the main program to actually compute what that is. So now it's just a series of if statements inside the loop to check for each of the vowels. So I'm checking on the first pass string sub I, which I is 1 on the first pass, but I will increment all the way through the loop, and I want to see if it's the letter A, the first vowel. And notice that it is enclosed here in the single quotes rather than double quotes, indicating it is a character. If that's true, then I want to add 1 to my vowel count, which I named vowels. So I'm adding 1 if it's a letter A. If it's not true, then I need to check for the next vowel. So I'm going to check to see if my string is equal to E, the next vowel. And if that's true, then what I'm going to do here is just copy this and paste it, because it is a vowel, and add 1. But if it's not true, again, check the next vowel. Which is I. And my assignment for vowels plus 1 is still on the clipboard, so I can just right click and paste it in. So now O. You see, this is very repetitive. If we were in another language, we could also use a case statement to do this, or select, as it's known in some languages. A, E, I, we're on O. And again, it's on my vowels counters here on the clipboard, so I can just paste it. And I've got one more vowel. I only used A, E, I, O, and U. But it's the same statement. I'm just checking for a different vowel. Yes. Okay. And if it's true, I want to add 1 to the vowel count. Now, as you can see, this is just a nested if inside of a loop. I could stop here and just, on the no path, add one to consonants, but the chances are great that there might be a space in the string, and I don't want to count the space as either a vowel or a character, constant. So what I did was one more check using another built-in Raptor function, which is the toASCII function, which converts a character ASCII, okay, and my character is string sub I. And what it does is it converts a character to the integer ASCII code, and the integer ASCII code for a blank space happens to be number 32. I don't just know those off the top of my head. I have to look them up on an ASCII chart. So 32 is a blank space. So I'm checking to see if it's a blank space. If it is, I'm not going to do anything. But if it's not, then it has to be a consonant. So I'm going to add 1 to my consonants counter. I think I spelled it right. And then the only thing I need to do in the loop is to increment I for the next character in the array, and that's an assignment statement that goes right here at the bottom of the loop after I've done all of the checks in my nested if. So here I want to increment I plus 1. So I equals I plus 1. So now I have my I initialized to 1. I have my loop checking to see if I is greater than length. I got the length by using the toLength function that's built into Raptor, and all languages have a length function for strings. Then in my procedure, I'm just stepping through a nested if to check for A, E, I, O, U and add 1 to vowels. Then I also check for a blank space with the toASCII function, which if it's a space, I'm not doing anything, but if it's a consonant, I'm going to add 1 consonant. So now I'm ready to go back to the main program to add my call, and I'm going to call it right here because I'm printing the string as soon as it's input. But here I want to make my call to count characters, and I'm passing it by value, the string. It's not going to change. The length, it too will stay the same. I'm just using it, but both vowels and consonants are going to come back as changed values. So I've called it, and then I should print. So I'm going to run it, and I'm going to use the string hello there. And we should get, as the correct answer, that there are 4 vowels, E, O, E, E, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 consonants, and it won't count the blank space, hopefully. So it's starting to run, and it's in the loop, and it's going to loop through here the length of the string, which you can see over here is 11. So it returned the correct length for me, and we're in the procedure coming through the loop. And you can also see the value of I over here in the left pane in the watch window, so that you know that it's changing for each of the characters, comparing each of the characters in those if statements to determine if it's a vowel or it's a consonant. We're on 8. And that's the last one. So it's coming out of the loop, and it's printing out my string hello there and my number of consonants 0. So I did make a mistake somewhere. Let me go back and check that. I could have worded it wrong. Consonants. Oh, I forgot to add 1 to it. Some of you probably saw that while I was recording it, so plus 1. I just didn't finish the statement. So let's run it again with hello there and see if we don't get the right number of consonants this time. and it will take a little while for it to run through. Again, the important things in this particular chapter are how we can use some of the built-in Raptor functions like the length of, and also to ASCII, and also the fact that we enclose single characters in single quotes rather than double quotes. Strings are enclosed in double quotes, but characters in single quotes, and that will fall through into other languages as well. So hopefully this time we'll get the right number of consonants. It was actually going through that statement, I just wasn't adding one to it. And we're at 10, so we're almost done. And there we are. This time it worked. The string hello there, which we looked at early before we ran it, does have 4 vowels, 6 consonants, and it did skip the blank space. That was chapter 12.